we talk about surrender to Krishna and to surrender to the divine.
Yes.
Um, so surrender and responsibilities goes together.
Yes.
Sometimes responsibilities limit us to surrender our actions, and then we think that, oh, if I surrender at this point of time, then later on, as I grow, as I grow out from my situation, I think, no, I should not have surrendered at that point. I should have done some more steps. I should have done some more work before surrendering it to God. Otherwise, what is happening is I am not fully utilizing my skills and my duties in and responsibilities, and I'm just surrendering without doing any action.
Okay.
So yeah.
I'm going to say a little bit, and then you can, what we're doing, you've said something, I've heard it, I'm going to say something, and then what you will do, Anil Prabhu, is that you will actually add more detail to it. And if I'm off track, then you'll bring me back on track. That's how the dialogue is going to work, okay? But I'll
Please
say
go.
to you, when you talk about surrendering, I get the impression that you're meaning, okay, I give up my material life, I either I quit my business or I retire, and I don't put so much interest into that. I now put my interest more into chanting and reading Gita and doing some charitable work. It may be that you don't mean that, but if you do mean that, I need to tell you straight away now that in our Sampradaya, we have been given such good guidance with that. For instance, one of our big teachers, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was a magistrate. He was a magistrate, and he was a top magistrate. He was well known, but he was also, one of our acharyas. He was writing books, he was teaching, he was lecturing, he was doing everything, but he was a magistrate. So we have to get rid of, rather than get rid of, we have to take the Lord's instructions. Because there again in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is telling Arjun, because Arjun wants to come off the battlefield. He doesn't want to fight. Not because he's not a good fighter, but because he's full of compassion. Out of compassion, he's refusing to fight. And he's thinking, if I could get out of this fighting, that'd be all right. But Lord Krishna doesn't accept any excuses. And he actually says, no, you need to fight. But fight serving me. Not fight serving yourself, fight serving me. Do your duty serving me. So that is an important lesson that you and all grihastas have to take. We have to take it. I did it. Nabi did it. I'll give you one example, Anil Prabhu. Nabi and Jayanti will know this. We were initiated, we were working in our professional careers, and then we took initiation. We were fortunate to meet a guru, we took initiation. Then we started to progress a little bit more, and we wanted to take on some more spiritual responsibilities. So Nabi was doing it in London, and I was doing it in a city some 100 miles from London, Coventry. But we both yatras, we've developed, and we got to the point where we took on responsibility for a small preaching center, okay, small temple. But when we took on the responsibility for the small temple, we were all in our professional careers. So remember, Nabi and Jayanti can say what happened in London, but I'll tell you what happened in Coventry. Guru Maharaj gathered us one day when we got the building, and he says, okay, now you're going to do deity worship, but this is how you want to do. And I want volunteers. I said, he says, everything has to be done nicely. Morning service has to be Mangalati service, 4:30 a.m. on the dot. And then evening service on the dot. He says, everything has to be nicely done. So who's going to do Monday morning? Hands up. Who's going to do Monday evening? Hands up. Who's going to do Tuesday morning? Hands up. And he went on like that. And all the days were fixed. All the days were fixed. So we've got a professional career, but we're also coming in. Some would come in the morning, some would stay in the temple, but we did morning service, and then we went to our jobs. We did our jobs and came back and did evening service. So it's not either or. You can do the two together. I'm going to stop there because I may be off track. But if I've missed you, then you come back and put me back on track. But some people misunderstand to say, I must give up everything and then I can be surrendered to Krishna. You can stay in your duty and be surrendered to Krishna.
So, Prabhuji, like I'll add one thing over there. When
Yeah.
you ask the question about who will do the Mangal Aarti, and if everybody refuses,
No,
then
well,
what
well,
happens? To
if
what
that if
extent
that
you
if
are?
that would have happened, Guru Maharaj would have, he wouldn't have been angry, because he would have just said, okay, then you're not ready. You said you want a temple, but you're not ready. So when you get ready, you let me know. That's what he would have said. Because he's a fixed up acharya, guru, that's what he would have said. The guru is never going to say, no, you should do this like now. He may say, because he's father and he knows you, he knows the blockages, he knows your ability. So he will actually say, no, you should do this. Like when he asked me to become temple president, it wasn't in my agenda to become temple president, but he said, you go and do that. And many times he would say, devotees, you go and do this. Nabi and Jayanti can give their account. He will send you to do this. He will send you to do that. And you're thinking, I can't do. But he sees the ability within you. So if you refuse, he will say, no, you're not ready now. He will just say, okay, we'll leave this for now because you're not ready. Because it's about commitment and service. So that didn't happen on our occasion. It didn't happen in South London either. The devotees said, yes, I will take. And then we did it. We didn't just do that morning and evening service for 1 month or 1 year. We did it for years. We did it for years. We did Mongolatis and go and do a full day's work for years. I'm talking for years, 10, 15, 20 years. We did it. We did it. And come from work, people want to go home and, go for a walk in the park. We rush home, rush to the temple, shower, puja. We did it for years. Many, many years. So one need not think that if I surrender to Krishna, I have to give up my material activities. No, you have to learn to balance. That is what the secret is that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada, they've taught us how to balance. It's a balance. And if we don't get the balance right and understand it, then we start to play artificial games. If somebody wants to be a banker, if somebody wants to be, an entrepreneur, if somebody, whatever, you want to actually, promote their family, live in a big house, it means that desire is there. Why are you going to play games with that desire? The Lord doesn't, he's not afraid of opulence. He's not afraid of you having opulence and wealth and beauty and status. Otherwise, there'd be no heavenly planets. There'd be no Indralok and Suryalok. Those places are far beyond our imagination. There's nowhere on this earth planet that's as beautiful, as opulent as those places. The Lord wants, you can go there, but you shouldn't play games. When we're here, we shouldn't play games. What we should do, I have those desires, but let me be a devotee. Let me be a devotee banker. Let me be a devotee entrepreneur. Let me be a devotee family man living in a big house. Be a devotee. That is the secret. Be a devotee. Be a sincere devotee. Not a pretentious person, a sincere devotee. And you can tell a sincere devotee because when you go into his big house, you will see his altar is there. His temple room is there by his behavior. You can tell. No need for pretense. Simply needs to surrender in your given position and be a devotee in that position. That is the secret of success. Is that clear, Prabhu? You can
Yes.
come back if you want to on it, but as long as I'm making the point clear so that there's no ambiguity.
So being a devotee, like one has to take that step voluntarily. And say if I'm a materialistic person
Yes,
and I feel challenges in my life, then
yes.
I think about God and I'm moving towards spirituality. Is this a true way of moving into spirituality and believing in God, or is it because I have challenges, that's why I have taken that
No,
route?
I haven't got the reference. Navin may have the reference. There's 4 types of devotees who come, 4 types of people who come to Krishna. We'll call them devotees, 4 types. One of them is those in distress. The Lord already knows that. He knows what type of people will come to him. And one of the type who come to him are those in distress. I came to the Lord in distress. Many devotees come in distress, you know. So the Lord already knows that, and he is willing, and he accepts the devotees who come to him in distress. That's not a problem. But the main thing is, it's not just, it has to stop being an intellectual exercise. Lord, I'm in trouble, please help me. I have no one else to help me. As a temple president, so many devotees would come. They come with all kinds of troubles. Even recently, I had a telephone call. One mother rang me. She says that her daughter is expecting their first child, and it's going to be cesarean section and such and such and such. So many troubles. She was worried. She wanted everything to go well. She wanted prayers, and I didn't disappoint. I gave. Although I'm no longer temple president, I still gave. But the point is that the Lord doesn't mind you coming, but don't leave it as a wish and nothing. You have to do something. You should do something. And Srila Prabhupada and their chariots have made it so easy. The starting point of your spiritual life in Kali Yuga is chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So if you are in distress, if you have material desires, you want them fulfilled, but chant the Maha Mantra. Don't just leave it as something in your head. I want to be a better person, but I don't know what to do. It starts with a desire, but do something, chanting this Maha Mantra. And then when you start to chant this Maha Mantra, all the magic happens. Along with the Maha Mantra, you do need to, like you're in association with devotees now. By the kindness of Jayanti and Nabi, the Vedic Institute is there. So this is association of devotees. And in association with devotees, you get to hear the Shastra. You're hearing Bhagavad Gita. You're hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. You're hearing other Shastras. And that way, devotee association is very, very important. So if you note the things that are important, devotee association, chanting the Maha Mantra, and reading Shastra. All those things. But you must be active. Don't do nothing. It's nothing. You can't make any progress by doing nothing. You have to do something. And if you take it this way, Imagine you say to somebody, okay, look, that person has no money. They just left, university or whatever, and they're trying to establish their life. And you say to them, okay, I tell you what you do. If you do this activity, you will progress in your career. Money will come, title will come. And what would that person do? Whether they want to be a lawyer, teacher, businessman, what if you give them a formula to say, you do this activity and your wealth would come, your reputation will come, your promotion will come? Are they going to say, no, I don't want it? No, they're going to say, yes, let me start. When do I start? I'll start today. Generally, when it comes to making money, we want to have the process to make more money. And we will do sacrifice to make money. And talk about sacrifice to make money. I have done it, and many people do it. I live here, but I have to take 2 buses and train and then walk to get to my workplace. And I do it every day. That's a big austerity. That's a big sacrifice. But I'll do it because in doing that, I'll get the money to manage my family. We all make sacrifices. So we have to understand in spiritual life, also sacrifice is required. But in Kali Yuga, rather than big sacrifice, the Lord has made it so easy. Just chant this Maha Mantra. Chant this Maha Mantra, read Bhagavad Gita, associate with devotees. And then when you start to advance a little bit more, then there are other regulations as well that will make the things speed up very much. The other regulations, I'm not putting them on you now if you're not doing them, but later on, you'll see when you start to ask about them, devotees will tell you, yes, your advancement will become very, very fast if you're actually acting on the human platform, not just having the body, but having the behavior. And to have the behavior, there's 4 sinful activities you have to give up. No one is killed for me. I don't eat any living entities, no meat, fish, or eggs. No one is killed for me. Right? Then I don't take intoxication. Why? I'm already intoxicated. I already can't think straight. I can't see straight. I can't do anything right. So why do I have to make myself more dull? I'm already dull. So in that way, then I don't do illicit sex. I can get married. I can have my relationship with my wife. But outside of that, that is not something, and then like that. When you follow those principles, then your advancement becomes very, very quick. And also you're protected because Kali Yuga, with very, very strong influence, he can't attack you. You're protected all around. But the beginning is chanting. That comes later. The beginning is chanting. And this association, which you're nicely doing, this mustn't be given up. Srila Prabhupada would tell everywhere he preached, in his books, in his tapes, chant this Maha Mantra. It's not ordinary Maha Mantra. Maha means greatest. This mantra is designed for this yuga. Prabhuji, look at the logic. The logic is staring you in the face. How can somebody born in Jamaica be giving this class right now? By qualification, I shouldn't be here. But Guru and the mantra has made me qualified. So if it made me qualified, what will it do for you? You see the logic like that. Everyone should see this logic. It's a process. If you take the process, you go to a university and the teacher is there, your good brain is there. Why shouldn't you come out as a doctor? Why shouldn't you come out as a lawyer? Why shouldn't you come out as whatever you're studying? The process is the process. The process will produce the goods. This process produce the goods. And this is a message that we and the Vedic Institute is trying to preach. Everyone should take to this process and become the best part of what you can be, which means a devotee. Only when you're a devotee are you going to be the best part of what you can be. You could be anything material. You could be the biggest millionaire. But if you're not a devotee, you can also be a trouble to yourself and to others. But a devotee will not be a trouble to others.
Okay.
Anil,
Prabhuji, another question. Sorry.
Yeah.
I just want to ask you, Anil. Your question actually is very relevant, not just to you, but actually to many devotees on this call and generally many people. What is the right time to surrender? Am I ready to surrender? If I do surrender and I don't make it, what will happen to me? This is a very intelligent question.
Yeah.
If one does it prematurely, you're right that, like Ananta Vijaya said, you could be a disturbance, right? It could be a disturbance not just to you, but to the devotional community. So surrender has to be done at the right time. However, when is the right time? Do we know we're going to wake up tomorrow morning? Can we guarantee I will get up tomorrow morning? No. So we are very fortunate. We have this community of devotees. We have this wonderful process. And the proof is in the pudding. We've seen so many devotees come through. Sometimes we do see devotees fall away. And Arjun asked this very question to Krishna in the 6th chapter, because Krishna explained Astanga Yoga, and Arjun was thinking, hey, this is not for me, Krishna. This is just too hard. And then he asked the question, what if somebody falls away on the transcendental path? Is he not in this world, material world, because he's given that up, but he's neither made it to the transcendental world. So he's in neither land. Is he lost? And the answer that Krishna gives him is such a beautiful answer. He says, one who takes to this path is never lost. Even if a transcendentalist doesn't quite make it, he will be given that facility in his next life, given another opportunity and another after that to continue on his path. He will be born in a righteous family, in a religious family, in a wealthy family, or whatever, in order to help him continue his progress. So the point is, yes, we do need to understand when to surrender, but we don't have a huge amount of time that we can guarantee we have, right? We can't guarantee any time that we have. So it's best if one is in the association, strong association of strong devotees, to take the plunge. And if you take the plunge, what will happen is you may or you may not be ready, but the Lord will give you enough protection to make you ready. if not in this life, it will happen in future lives, definitely. But if you don't take the path at all, then there's nothing to gain. There's no gain.
Experiment.
Sorry?
Experiment with it.
Mhm.
So that was one point. And then this point about coming to him with a motive, right? I'm distressed, so I'm gonna approach the Lord. And Ananta Vijaya answered it very nicely in the 7th chapter, 18th verse. Oh no, not 18. Yeah, 18th verse. Krishna says, 4 types of devotees approach me: distressed, seeker of wealth, one who's inquisitive, and one who's searching for the absolute truth. And then 2 verses later, he says, all of these souls are udhara. They're magnanimous. He calls even those who want something from him magnanimous, great souls. Why? Because at least they've come to him. At least you have come to me. He's saying like that to us. At least you have come to me. You want something? That's fine. Thank goodness you've come to me. Thank you for coming to me. He's actually saying he's saying to us, we are very charitable to come to him for relief of distress. The Lord is so compassionate.
He is compassionate. He's very kind. He's the essence of all mercy. And I'll say it again. We're not saying it just because you're grihastas. When you speak to brahmacharis and sannyasis, speaker will speak according to the audience. But mostly here, there may be some brahmacharis listening, but then if you let me know, I would address the message differently. But I'm assuming I'm speaking to mostly grihastas. It's not an advert that we're making. We're stating a fact. But I'm able to emphasize that fact because I've been in grihasta life as a devotee for the last 30 years. And I can tell you, the Lord does not have any restriction about how wealthy you are, or he doesn't mind. He doesn't mind. As a matter of fact, a wealthy devotee is a blessing in devotional life. I'm talking about our society, because you can do things that a devotee who doesn't have the wealth, he may have the desire, but he can't do. So the Lord doesn't have any restriction. Where the restriction about wealth, where the restriction comes, is if you are only interested in wealth. You're only interested in wealth. And you're putting the Lord not only 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 10th, is way down the line. Then that's a problem. But no one should think, if I become wealthy, then there's a problem. No, there's not a problem. And if you ever know a devotee who is very wealthy, but is a devotee, then you'll see what I mean. The wealth is an ornament, because the way he greets, devotees, the way he actually spends his money, in spiritual life, but the way he maintains. We have some devotees, Nabi, we know some families like that. You go to their homes, and their homes, the first thing for me, how we judge devotees is that if I come to your home now, you invited me in your home, the very first thing I would do after I've taken off my shoes, before I sit down, and Nabi and Jayanti are probably the same. Before I sit down, I want to go to your home and bow down in your temple. Before I sit in your home, I want to go and bow down in your temple. So if you have a big house, but you don't have a temple, actually, I want to leave. I want to do the business quickly and leave. But if in your home there's a temple, then I know who's in charge of the temple. So no one should have any reservations about, I should give up my job, give up my career. Maybe, I should make too much money. No, you shouldn't lose the focus that all that you're doing is temporary and limited. And it takes a while for the grihasta to get that balance of thinking and behavior. But once you get that, it doesn't become a problem anymore. As I said, we can speak from the point of experience. We did it for years. Very high level of devotional service, still maintaining our families. It wasn't a problem. It never became a problem.
Prabhuji, you talked about the process. So
Yes.
I've been chanting for a couple of years.
Yes.
recently I came across a problem which is causing me problem in chanting.
Okay.
In the chanting, we chant for Rama too. Hare
Yes.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Yes.
So when I'm chanting with the name of Rama, then the problem
Yes.
that is coming is, like, recently I've been reading and I've been looking into the issues in the society where
Yes.
single moms are facing problems.
Yes.
And that is correlating with the problem that Sita Mata went through, where
Yes.
Ram had to exile her and she had to stay in the Rishi's kutir, where she gave a birth, and
Yes.
then the child was missing and a twin was found by the Rishi, and so she went through so many problems.
Yes.
So I'm correlating that with the problems that the single moms in the society are facing. And then the question comes, why should I pray Rama, who gave a tough time to Sita Mata?
No. Well, that is also, there's the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is very important. And if I leave you with a bit of homework today, that bit of homework I'll give you, read the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. It's called Transcendental Knowledge. It's very important. All of Bhagavad Gita is transcendental knowledge. But the 4th chapter is especially concentrated in telling you and showing you the glories of transcendental knowledge. Your understanding of Lord Ram and Lord Ram's activity, I'm telling you, is very different from mine and Nabi's understanding of Ram Leela. It's very different. Because you see, we don't see Lord Ram as doing any mischief. We don't see Hanuman as doing any mischief. When Hanuman went to Ravan, and when he was in the Ashok garden, and he smashed up the trees and smashed up the fruits and smashed up the soldiers, we don't see that as that's nothing wrong. That we just say, whoa, well done, Hanuman ki jai. Because you need to understand the Lord's, his activities. He's always transcendental. Lord Krishna killed so many demons. And sometimes they weren't just demons coming like Putana. Sometimes they were in respectable society, but they were demons, But he killed them, never the same. Kansa was a king, he killed him, but he was out and out demon. But there are others that Lord Krishna killed, because when Lord Krishna went to Dwarka for the first time, he was walking, he and Balaram, up towards the palace. And they saw one washerman. And he said, give me some clothes. And the washerman didn't. Krishna slapped his head off his body. Now, does he mean he's a killer? But he went to another person, I think his name was, I forget his name, who asked for, and he gave him beautiful garland. He made garland for him and garland for Balaram. The Lord's activity cannot be judged. We shouldn't make judgment. That is ignorance acting. Our Guru Maharaj used to say, in addition to your question, I'm extending your question, not only should you become learned by actually studying under the guidance and in association of devotees, like you're doing now, so you can get this correction, but you should also make yourself successful and then help others. Our Guru Maharaj used to say that. First, make your life successful and then help others, which means you have to become fixed up in your chanting, fixed up in your spiritual life. And then you'll be surprised. You can start a whole classes in your neighborhood and actually be helping the devotees. But you have to first of all become fixed up. You have to know what is in the Bhagavad Gita. You have to know the power of this Maha Mantra. This Maha Mantra is so wonderful. It's not able to be polluted by any aspect of any material influence. This Maha Mantra can destroy more sins than you've been able to commit. Because it's a wonderful, powerful combination of the Lord's name. And this combination of the Lord's name is really the number one means of making progress in Kali Yuga. No other formula is as powerful as this. But we don't know that. We have to learn that. We have to have faith in that. And then when we start to chant like that, then you then invite devotees. You become successful. You're chanting 16 rounds. It's no longer a big mountain to climb. In the beginning, 16 rounds seemed like a big mountain. It's like Everest. Can't go there. But when you get to that point where your faith is fixed, your practice is fixed, you should invite others. and you'll become a big tree that can shelter others. That's making your life successful. Then you help others.
In terms of Ram, when we're chanting the Mahamantra, the name Ram can refer to three personalities. One is Lord Ramachandra, as you said. Ram can also refer to Balaram, the elder brother of Krishna when he came to this world 5,000 years ago. But it also can refer to Sri Krishna himself, Radhika Raman Ram, the one who is enchanted by Radhika. So Ram can be referring to Ramachandra, Balaram, or Krishna himself, depending on your mood. So if a devotee is particularly inclined towards Krishna, then Ram would mean Krishna to him. If somebody was particularly inclined to Lord Ramachandra, like Hanuman, then of course that is Lord Ramachandra. It depends on one's bhav, one's mood. And in terms of Lord Ram and the relationship with Sita, we have to understand that what he did was for the good, for the greater good. He showed how he is actually the perfect king, that he didn't take any personal, something that's very personal to him, his own wife. He didn't, what's the word? He didn't give her special status, if you like. She was one of his subjects. And if you see his motive of doing this, and Sita was in complete agreement with this, by the way. I know the common movies don't actually portray that, but she was in complete agreement with what Ramachandra was doing. But if you see his activities after she went to the forest, he didn't remarry. He lived for another 10,000 years or more. He didn't remarry. In fact, what he did, because the Brahmins, they told him, no yajna is complete without your wife, right? So get a wife. What did he do? He got a murti of Sita done. And who was sitting next to him in the yajnas? The murti of Sita. He was completely dedicated to Sita, as Sita is completely dedicated to Ram. And of course, in the higher sense, they're never separated. They can never be separated. Like Radha and Krishna can never be separated. But they have these pastimes where they are separated. Sometimes Radha and Krishna have great quarrels, great arguments. But it's all done in the form of Leela, where the Lord exacts great enjoyment, great ecstasy from such transactions with his closest devotees. So try not to feel any negativity towards Ramachandra. He has a completely different personality from Krishna, although they're the one and the same person. Their moods are different. Ram came as king. He took the vow of only one wife. Krishna came as a playboy, the transcendental playboy. So his mood was completely different.
Completely different. But still, what you will see is in both pastimes, in all the pastimes of the Lord, you won't find him violating any Vedic customs. You'll see him establishing them. So we may not understand, and I give you this, Nabi said it, I repeat it, that you should actually, in the association of devotees, you should ask the questions like you've done today. Rather than making an accusation, ask the question. That's the right way. I've seen this, I've observed this behavior. How do I understand this? And that way you'll be enlightened. Because making a judgment, not only about the Lord, but about the Lord's devotees, is very, very serious. It's extremely serious. Most folks don't understand. Even those who are in spiritual life still don't understand. The Lord, he'd prefer for you to actually, commit some aparad to him than commit some aparad to his devotees.
That's so fun.
And especially to the acharyas, who are his embodied, surrendered servants, who are simply laying everything on the line just to do his work. And the work is to tell us to look up and to actually look within and look up. It's not, life is more than what you think it is, because 60 years go by just like that. 70 years go by just like that. And then you come out of this body, you think I was this, I was that, but now you understand. When you come out, you realize, oh, I'm spirit soul. Then you're waiting. Our Guru Maharaj used to say very nicely, very clearly. So no one would actually, when I first started listening to the class of His Holiness Krishna Swami, many people were afraid of his classes because he used to almost be asking, for Lord Kalki to come now. When Lord Kalki comes, it means that everything is finished. This yoga is finished. So people will be shaking in their boots. What if he does come then? Or he'll be saying things that is stuck and sticks in his disciples' mind. Some of these sayings are stuck in my mind. And that is what that's why the parents repeat things to the children. They want those values to be stuck in the child's mind. So Guru Maharaj used to say, live for Dharma, die for Dharma. Live for the truth, die for the truth, but don't change it. Don't change it. So you'll find when the Lord comes, he comes to establish the principles of righteousness, and he won't vary from that. Our job is to actually make sure we do understand. And if we don't understand, we seek clarification, especially Vaishnava Prad should be, there's 10 offenses. When you start to chant nicely, it's not the feature of this class today, but we could make it a feature of another class. There are 10 offenses to be avoided if you want to chant nicely. And those 10 offenses must be understood and they must be avoided, because your chanting will not progress. And we can talk about that. And actually, if Nabi want to post something, we can post it, but we can talk about it. And then another time we can take all 10 and go one by one through them, so you understand properly. Because one of the big offenses that must be avoided, the holy name can actually mitigate any kind of sin. And the biggest obstacle is for somebody who's thinking, yes, it can neutralize any kind of sin. So I should go and do this nonsense, and I'll come back and I'll chant some extra rounds. That is the biggest aparad. The biggest offense to be avoided is that one, because then you've neutralized the holy name. So there's 10 offenses. When we know these offenses and we're avoiding them, our chanting very quickly improves. The other thing to say to you, I wanted to say it earlier on, was that when you're chanting, different devotees have different abilities. So sometimes the devotee, he's got ability to remember Lord Krishna's pastimes. So he's chanting, but he's in Vrindavan, or he's in Ram Leela, or he's in Jagannath Puri, or he's in whatever, according to your ability. But many devotees would come like this and say to Srila Prabhupada, what should I think about? And I can't maintain my concentration. Srila Prabhupada answered the question very simply and very nicely. He says, when you're chanting, simply focus on hearing the name that you're chanting. Just focus on hearing. Don't focus on any Ram Leela. If it's your ability, then that's fine. He didn't say stop if you have the ability to do it. But if it's disturbing you, I'm trying to chant and think of Ram Leela, I'm trying to chant and think of Krishna Leela, but I can't. And then my chanting is not going anywhere. He said, don't do that. Just concentrate on hearing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, and just concentrate on the syllables of the Lord's name that you're chanting, and your chanting will improve. You'll go deeper and deeper and deeper into chanting. But if you have the natural ability, you're chanting and you're in Vrindavan, who's going to stop you? That's a nice place to be. But if you can't maintain it, then don't try. Just try to concentrate on hearing each syllable very nicely. Then your chanting will improve.
I have to ask if we can go to the Nishinga Kavach.
Okay, okay.
Reason being, we've got another function straight after
Okay,
this.
all right, okay.
And actually, everybody's invited to that. Ritesh is here.
Okay.
It's from the Surrey Hindu Cultural Association.
Okay.
And we are doing the Purushottam Satsang with them at 6
Okay.
o'clock.
Okay.
So we wanted
But it was it, but very, very quickly, even if we mark the question for the next session, was there any
yes.
other questions from anybody? We may not be able to go into it now, but if we mark it, then we can know that, okay, next time we speak, next Sunday, we can pick up that question. Were there any other questions from anybody?
I'd like to say to Anil, your questions were very appropriate. Not just appropriate, but the way you asked the questions were excellent. So keep asking. These questions are very, very good, very important questions. So I'd like to say, well done. You know, that's really good, because you asked a difficult question in very nice way. So you're a very good example, actually. So thank you for that. And yes, if there's anybody, I think perhaps Suresh may have had a question.
Okay, if we just list it, we may not go into detail because of time constraint. But if we list that question, if we note it, then we can. Suresh will know that.
Suresh, we can ask her. We can ask her. What's the question, Suresh?
I just wanted to say that for the path of religion, you are chosen. The Guru chooses you, and whereas the Ramcharitmanas will explain the Ram and Sita. You know, if you read that, it clarifies a few things in there. I had just two to mention. The rest, I think, peace of mind. If you have, chanting gets easier also.
Yes,
I think so.
Yes.
Anyway,
thank you so much.
It's a devotion, and it's a balance of mind, isn't it? When there's a balance of mind, then when you're chanting any Om Namo Shivaya, Hare Krishna, everything, follows. So
okay, and we can speak on that some more when we come to our next session.
Yeah, we can take that up next time. That'd be good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Suresh. Thank you for your contribution. So is there anybody else? Otherwise, we will go to the Nishinga Kavach. Oops, better do that again. 1 second. Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to reduce this. Oh, yeah, that's the way to do it. You cannot minimize. Okay. Oh, yeah, stop the recording. Yeah, good.